Do you live in a world filled with corporate data? Are you plagued by siloed departments? Are your lackluster growth strategies demolishing your chances for success? Are you held captive by the evil menace, Lord Lack? Lack of time, lack of strategy, and lack of the most important and powerful tool in your superhero tool belt, knowledge. Never fear, Hub Heroes. Get ready to don your cape and mask, move into action, and become the Hub Hero your organization needs. Tune in each week to join the League of Extraordinary Inbound Heroes as we help you educate, empower, and execute. Hub Heroes, it's time to unite and activate your powers.
Now, do you notice anything different there? Did you notice that?
Do we finally have an update?
The fade out.
Up to date? Oh.
I haven't heard the fade out in forever.
No. So I actually took some time and I updated the fact of like Devin and HubSpot and Max and like all of the, and I was like, you know what? We're just gonna give it a and like a fade out. And so that's the new intro. Is that not?
That's beautiful.
That's hot.
The only thing missing is that you need some sort of disclaimer. Like if 90% of what Liz says, we're sorry.
Oh,
just preemptively, we're sorry.
Yeah,
just
we apologize.
To whoever it is.
Yeah, we apologize in advance.
Yes, it's a pre-apologization
for all of the shenanigans that might happen.
I know, but you know what, guys? It's only the three of us this week. Max, as we were talking about before we hopped on today, hope his sick kiddos get better. But guys, I have you two nerds in front of me right now.
Yes.
And George.
Yes.
I need to talk to you immediately and directly for a second as we dig into what we're talking about today, which is HubSpot AI data sources. We are going so nerdy today.
Yes.
So nerdy.
Yeah.
And because we're talking about something today where, honestly, you brought this up last week as our topic, right? Look at this amazing thing. And I'm like, oh, goody. The settings section of HubSpot.
Yeah.
My favorite place.
You don't usually like get excited. You don't get excited and be like, look at this new setting.
Are you going to show me more about how to add a user to HubSpot, George?
Yeah.
Yay. I'm so excited. But I got to know, brother,
settings are important. I love settings. Like, there's some really great settings in HubSpot, so don't be dissing my settings, all right?
We probably could have an entire episode on like HubSpot settings you didn't know you should pay attention to, but
guys, we
ones
are
that will
having a whole
change your
episode.
life.
We are doing an episode today
This is
We are doing
AI settings. This is different than the boring, the regular settings, okay?
All right. Now, so here, George, I got to know, brother. Why are you so hyped to get nerdy about this today? Because the way you are dancing right now, Chad, and anybody who's watching in our live audience right now, you can see he's dancing, he's moving around.
He was like doing jumping jacks during the intro.
Yeah.
That was how he was during our team meeting, where he's like, Liz, we're going to talk about settings. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So, George, tell us.
Well, listen. You know that for a long time, I have loved HubSpot, and HubSpot has done a lot of things right. And then they rolled out like the AI content builder. And I immediately was sad because I was like, oh, it's not quite there. And, and I wanted to be happy. I wanted to leverage it. I wanted to lean all in. And I was like, oh, but I can't. Like, I gotta teach my clients and other people like this other way that I'm doing it because it's not quite there. Now, so one, I'm happy because I can be like, woo, we're officially there, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you should be paying attention to these things. Now, the other thing that is a layer on this is at Inbound, I talked about humanizing AI. And one of the main things that I talked about that was important when it comes to AI and any type of like creation or agent or you and humanizing it is this really large word, context. Well, the word isn't large. The word is actually small, but the concept and the idea of having
sized word.
Medium, not small, not big, medium. But the concept of having context to the things that you're doing are really important. All right. So if we take those ideas of like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're there. You should be paying attention to it. And context is everything when it comes to helping to humanize the AI elements that you're doing. Then the place that we all should be paying attention to, if we are not yet, and making sure that we've even updated some new things that are like new because of what we're about to talk about today. We journey into the world of, yes, AI settings, but more importantly, the data sources tab, right? And when you hear things like user profile, you might not get excited, but there are reasons to. When you hear words like marketing strategy inside of a settings tab, generally with marketing strategy, you should just get excited. And if you don't, shame on you. But you also might hear things like company profile and be like, okay, I don't even need to click into that. But guess what? You probably should. And so, Liz, it's because of the specificity, the microness of this, the context, the what I would love to call the layers of context that will then be able to be injected, paid attention to as we move forward. HubSpot, I love you again.
Oh, Chad,
I love you again.
How much pressure do I need to put on you to talk about why you're excited to nerd out today? Or do you just need runway and space?
Oh, I mean, I don't think I need a whole lot of pressure to talk about HubSpot. That's pretty easy for me. Yeah, I mean, like the AI settings, I was just poking around in there. I think like the hardest thing about like Breeze, HubSpot AI traditionally so far up until it's really graduated to this point was like HubSpot portal contextualization, right? Understanding the non-standard portions of your HubSpot portal, right? And I think that's where it's been difficult. And now that it's starting to tie into other areas of HubSpot, like user properties and user personalization and understanding who the humans are that are working with things, understanding the thing you're trying to accomplish and your mission and goal and what you serve and whatever these other things are. Absolutely wonderful. So, I mean, I'll let George run, and I'll chime in, on things and ask even probably some additional questions, actually.
I love it. All right. So let's start digging into what we're talking about. So we're talking about the AI data sources, which includes brand kits, your company profile, your ideal customer profile, your marketing strategy, your products and services, your user It's a lot. George, can you just break it down? Let's simplify the complex here. What the heck are HubSpot AI data sources? Where are they? What collective purpose do they serve? What are we doing here?
Yeah. So first of all, you've got to go to, again, maybe one of the sexiest places in the HubSpot portal, the settings area. You go to settings. Baby. Let's go. And on the left-hand side, you're going to scroll down to AI, and you're going to see there's an AI access tab when you first get there. This is where you can actually flip the switch on to the things that you want to like do pertaining. And there's a couple of links to like learn more stuff and dig in, which you should like learn more
like
about
how they
HubSpot.
Manage the data.
Yes.
Really the settings, all it is right now is just like it's on or it's off. That's all you get.
Yes, but you should definitely dig into the like knowledge article links that are there, because understanding how and why of the data is an important fundamental piece. But then there's this tab that's called data sources. So that's the where. You also asked me like a second part, I think, which is like why they're important. Was that the second part of it?
What is their collective purpose? So I think about because here's some context for my question.
Yeah,
I think we can look at all these disparate things. ICPs, company profiles, brand kits, marketing. But what do they all collectively do together?
Yeah. And I love that question, because there's a knowledge article, which we need to make sure we put in the show notes, Liz. The knowledge article is literally, it sounds so sexy. Manage your AI settings. But about middle way down, there's a thing, and you can do like a Control F in your browser. It says manage your AI data sources. And the answer to your question is actually in the middle of a knowledge article, buried, which again is why we're having this conversation, because it says to ensure that the content generated, pay attention to that, because content is generated in multiple different areas moving forward in HubSpot, right? Like immediately when you think of content generated, you're like, oh, blog articles. Oh, maybe landing pages. Oh, maybe like, yes. But I also want you to think about things like, no, I don't know, the prospecting agent who does like templates and, snippets, and the social media agent that, I don't know, does things like social media posts. Like there's a whole lot of places where content generation can now live inside of your HubSpot customer portal. Okay. And so to make sure that content generated aligns with your company, you can configure your AI data sources. The AI data sources will be used when generating content with agents such as, and then it has social agent listed there right now, but there, there's the content agent, the prospecting agent in beta that's coming.
There's the customer agent too for like your social or for your support, service. Right? Because like support bot needs to be aware of who you are, who you serve, and what you do so that it can more successfully answer inquiries.
Yeah. So if we like take what HubSpot's saying and we take what we're talking about today, literally, if you think about inbound, humanizing your content, right? Human powered, AI assisted, these data sources are giving the most important context to the places where content will be created and be able to be humanized. And so if you want to get more of a 90% rough draft instead of a 30% rough draft where you're getting ticked off at HubSpot because they don't know anything about, but you haven't gone into your data sources and actually helped HubSpot help you. It's like Jerry Maguire. HubSpot's sitting there going, help me, help you. Help me, help you. All you got to do is go to the data sources.
So you've been experimenting already with these tools, though. What have you discovered so far? You've been a little, I'm going to be perfectly clear. You haven't just been experimenting. You've been a little mad scientist, just in your little laboratory, cooking up stuff back there. What have you found?
Yeah. So I don't know if I want to start from the top or the bottom and work my way up or work my way down, because again, I want to talk about these data sources. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the bottom list and work my way up. Okay. Because user profile, again, doesn't sound sexy. But what I realized when I went in there is that I clicked in there and I had my name in there. But there was this place called job title and I hadn't filled it out. And I was like, why is that important? Well, let's see. If I'm generating content as the user, there's some context of me being the owner or the context of me being a HubSpot helper that you can start to think of the connective tissue or the lines that could be drawn on, well, oh, this might be a thought leader in this thing versus just like a general human being called George. So again, adding job title. Now, here's the thing. I believe over time, HubSpot will start adding more things to a user profile settings and data sources so you can get very contextual to that. This is Liz generating this content. This is Chad generating this content. Well, you know what's funny is Chad always makes these changes. So let's make sure we write it more in this way. Or Liz always adds these things. So as Liz generates, let's make sure Liz,
I am a thing adder.
Get these right. So like just going in and doing like name and then adding job title. If you haven't done that, and again, go through data sources to click into this thing to kind of see that.
I think one of the things I'd love to see there would be like job description, right? That's like one of the next evolutions is like, what do you do? Put the outline of your role so it has a little bit more context. Because exactly right. Like, especially in a sales role, if it's going to generate an email, you want it to understand your goal as a sales rep, right? And the other thing that I'd love to see there is like the custom user properties, like some level of the ability to fill out custom user properties. But this is an amazing step in the right direction. You can see the connective tissue, like you were saying, of exactly how they're putting the framework together, and they're just going to build on top of it. Again, this as much as often as we say this, it's so true. Is this is the worst it's ever going to be, right?
Yeah, yeah. So let's even take this a step further, Chad, because I love where your brain's going. Imagine I go into user profile and there's like areas of interest, or there's areas of expertise, or there's even a place where I can put dumb stuff of like Star Wars lover, Fast and
hobbies,
Furious guy, like
stuff
hobbies.
like that. Yeah,
Because now what can it do? Well, it can use it the profile that's generating the content and be like, oh, this dude likes cigars. Let's go ahead and throw a couple cigar jokes in there, or like that, whatever, right? So like, again, because this comes down to how can HubSpot, the company that is focused so much on inbound and being human, doing marketing, sales, service in a human way, how can the AI get to a level that it can create the most humanness? I don't think that's a word.
I'm sorry, but I feel like it's not sounding correctly to me.
The most
fix that.
Humanness.
Still, I don't think it's a word. Even though it sounds cooler that way, I don't think it's.
So the word we're actually looking for here is humanity. It's a little simpler, but we'll go with humanness. That sounds fine.
Humanification.
Hey, listen, people say automagical all the time. I coined that one. And it's you like did. Whatever. It's like
sorry,
whatever.
I stole that. I use it all the time, and I always say, George told me this.
You know the amount of people who have told me that HubSpot can be automagical, and I just giggle. I don't say anything. I just giggle. I say, yes, it can. Yes,
it's amazing.
It can.
That's amazing.
But here's what's fun. It's like you have to start to think about the layer that brings. And here's the thing. I lied. I'm not even going to start from the bottom and work my way up. I'm just going to jump around because it's HubHeroes.
Wasn't that expected?
That's kind of expected.
At the end of the day.
like company profile. Okay. Company profile does not sound sexy at all. But
no, it's like, hey, we got to send you a bill. Put in your address correctly. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. But in this now, here's what's fun. And again, I had never filled this out. And I'm by the way, I'm being completely authentic, transparent, vulnerable, whatever, however you want to throw this out there. I had company name. Sure. Duh. You do that on setup. I had the domain. Duh. My website is hosted on here. But I never had gone in and put the industry. So I went in here because of data sources and I put in marketing services. Now, what do you think that does as far as connective tissues or understanding about what the machine should talk about or the level or direction? Now again, could company profile be a little bit deeper? Yes. Like, are there some things that it could add? Absolutely. But like Chad said, it's the worst it'll ever be. And so just even going in user profile and company profile, you're going to be adding these foundational, fundamental, like contextual pieces over time.
Yeah. Well, I think that nicely leads us into ICP.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started. So here's the thing.
George, do you need a moment?
I might need a moment.
Do some jumping jacks again, man. You gotta get that energy. Let's go, like, baby.
You're gonna have to watch it. If you're listening to this, you're like, this dude like is on something this morning. But
it's that Monday morning energy for sure. Everyone, when we were in like the green room before we started, it was like everyone was excited about everything that we're planning to do this week. Sometimes like those Friday shows would get a little bit like. Just a little, it's been a long week.
It's been a long week.
We had some good energy.
And not know how to land the plane.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I get so excited about this because I realize how much this will impact the humans that use HubSpot, and also the humans that use HubSpot are trying to impact or help, right? And so let's go to ideal customer profiles or ICPs. Literally, when I found this, when I stumbled across this, I was like, okay, this is where it all changes. And I took a screenshot, I put it on LinkedIn, and I said, are you doing this yet? I also put it in the super admin training as a question. Do you document your ICPs in HubSpot? And people are like, huh? What do you mean document our ICPs in HubSpot? Well, this can be a documentation tool that also then allows it to be a data sources tool. So if you go into the data sources tab and go into ideal customer profiles, what you can do is you can create new ICPs. And so like for us, we have established SMB or marketing manager or HubSpot operations or event driven, right? And if you go into one of these, you can actually name it. You can give it multiple job titles that it can look for. You can do several industries that you want it to focus on. You can give it locations. You can give it company size. You can give it suggested revenue. The age ranges of the potential humans that might be part of the ICP portion. You can give it interests, and you can give it an other section. Now, interest and other are real interesting because they're like single line text and multiple line text, meaning you're giving it a customized contextual information that it can use. And so it doesn't
everything else is multi-checkbox, right? So you got to boop, 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 pick from the list, but this is like you put whatever you want in there.
Exactly. So it doesn't take an Einstein to understand that, like, oh, well, this is the fundamental undergrowth engine for the prospecting agent once it's released out of beta and people are using it. Like, this is how it knows who and what and why and where to be looking for these prospects that you might want to work with. But also, if I think back from like just a content generation standpoint, when you go in, Liz, oh my God, when you go in to generate a blog article, it asks you like, who are you writing this piece of content to? And
I saw that.
Oh my God.
Okay. I'm freaking losing my mind over that. I've been waiting for you to bring this up. I'm waiting for you because for years, George, you have worked with me and you have listened to me interview people on hundreds and hundreds of topics. And people always get so freaking hyped about, let's talk about the what and the why and the how. And the first question I always ask them, if they try to skip over is, wait a minute, who are we talking to?
Yes.
And
now
that is the number one place content pieces go to die.
Oh my God.
Skip that step.
And
I'm
so now
excited.
you're literally saying, I gave you all this juicy context over an ICP. We're about to write this blog article about HubSpot data sources, and I want to make sure that it's directed into this type of human being that we're educating. The context and the output differences based on that and it being part of your HubSpot. Anyway, so listen, listeners, if you haven't gone in and gone to your data sources and at least done this ideal customer profile piece, then you got to do that. Now, I know, Liz, in a little bit, you might ask us like, how can this get better? So I'm going to save the thing that I just dramatically want to say right now. Because I'm like, there's everything inside of me screaming of like, of a thing that needs to happen in here. But I'm going to
do some more jumping jacks. Come on.
Okay,
Get it out.
All right. Well, okay. So while he's doing jumping jacks, I actually have a question for you, Chad.
Okay. Sure.
So here's my question for you. When you take a look at this tool set, right? When you take a look at this suite of settings, do you have like an underdog that's just there hanging out in the periphery? Like the one where you see like, this is going to bring a lot of value and a lot of people are just kind of overlook it because these data sources, they're directive, but I mean, I'll say the quiet part out loud. I know we're doing jumping jacks and getting hyped, but like we're talking about settings, guys. This is not sexy on the surface.
But you're not. But go ahead.
But
Chad,
you're
go
not.
ahead.
Yeah. So, well, there's two things here. So underdog for me, I think the underdog that people will overlook is the future extension of the user and company profile and giving basically your content generation engine inside of HubSpot that's aware of all the humans and businesses you're working with, that's aware of all the sales opportunities that you have, that's aware of all the support tickets that you've brought in if you're using and leveraging the entire platform, right? Knowing who your people are and who your business is going to truly be the thing that extra personalizes it. I mean, I think that is an underdog for me, at least from my perspective. Now, when there's time, I have a question related to ICP that I think I'd like to pose to George.
Okay. So I want to give an underdog too.
Yes.
Because I like the question. I think people are going to sleep on the marketing goals portion of this. Because when you click on it, you can only select two. And by the way, the fact that trust is one of the goals and education is one of the goals, brand awareness is one of the goals, engagement is one of the goals, lead generation. But there's this magic mix of if you pick 2 for your strategy, what does that do? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm going to write an article that is to build trust, I'm going to write it fundamentally different than if I'm trying to generate a lead. If I'm trying to get engagement out of the I'm going to write it completely different than if I was just trying to educate them. And so the context of the market, but also here's where I love to let my brain just kind of like go into the future. Does that mean there's going to be a marketing agent? And if so, what else will be in this panel in the future to actually help direct the marketing agent, know what the marketing strategy is, and maybe the core values and the mission statement, which by the way, we can already do like at a granular level in the content agent. But what does this grow into? And I think people are just gonna be like, I know what my strategy is. Why does HubSpot need to know it?
George.
This episode is amazing.
Oh, he's ready.
How you doing,
man.
bud? George, how you doing, bud?
I'm taking deep breaths. Take a deep breath. Okay. I know we've talked already about what we love about these tools, but I want to know what we love about them in terms of how they're set up and how they're already functioning. But then I also want to hear from you where we see gaps or clear opportunities for improvement and iteration. Can we wait to do that for a second?
Sure.
Yeah, because I can't move forward.
I'm impressed. George, hold on. I got to say one thing. I'm very impressed. Rather than breaking my outline for this show within the first 30 seconds, you waited, like 30 minutes? I'm so proud of you. Yeah. This is restraint.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I can't move forward without knowing what Chad's question on ICPs was.
Oh, yeah. All right. So I know that at least for whatever reason, just like I latched on to Automagical, I latched on to a training you did on personas, right?
Oh, yes,
I really, really loved how you wanted users to essentially self-identify via persona and like to put it on a form where it's like, hey, I'm this kind of a human, or I'm that kind of a human, or oh man, I'm nobody in this list. Can you tell me a little bit more about you? Right. And the personas are super helpful. And like, what is the overlap between the personas feature in HubSpot and the ideal customer profile? And is this meant to replace it? Is it meant to link to it?
No.
Right. And like, what are your thoughts on that? So I wanted to get your perspective on it.
Here's the good thing, Liz. I can actually answer Chad and you at the same time. Because this is where I was like,
operational efficiency.
I'm gonna die if I can't tell somebody at HubSpot that this needs to be. So ICPs are the company, right?
Right.
ICPs are for like target accounts and ABM and like and just like B2B, right? First of all, I hope you're using personas properly in HubSpot. 98% of you probably aren't. Book time with me, send me some money, I'll show you how to do it right. It's a fundamental shift of actually how you do the foundational baseline segmentation for communication and reporting in your HubSpot portal. And it allows these humans to self-identify by all that is holy.
This training blew my mind. Like, I mean, it is so simple because people overthink personas, and this just changed the entire way that I thought about that property.
I'll let you know how you know you're jacked up or not. If you go into your persona tool and the description of your persona doesn't start with I'm a or I'm an, depending on proper grammar, give me a call. All right, so here's the thing, because it's wrong. Okay. Also, I'll tell you how you know you're jacked up. If you're still doing the 3 to 6 months of persona research before you've actually put the personas in HubSpot, give me a call. You're doing it wrong. All right. If you're worried about doing persona research after the fact, give me a call. Okay, I'm done with it. Okay, so here's the thing. The HubSpot AI humans, the people that are in charge of the data sources tab, by all that is holy, can you please add another section that is just hooking up the people who are adding personas right? Because then more people can call me, by the way. The people who are actually doing personas right, that it actually looks at those personas. Oh my God. Because if you could do ICPs and the persona property, and you had
And
3
field
to
map them
5.
together.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. And you had 3 to 5 positive personas or 1 to 2 negative personas. And you could actually look at the activities in your activity feed based on the persona being set of one of your 1 to 5 and ICP. The context around the activities and the understanding of the individual human would be astronomical.
The
The individual what? Thank you.
Would be astronomical. Like just this one addition, and also then allowing me to train every single HubSpot user how to use personas properly would take HubSpot and the AI to a level that probably I don't think anybody is even thinking about or paying attention to right now. Because what do you get in personas? You get the roles, you get the goals, you get the challenges, you get the demographics. You can create a story. Well, what's a story? Story's context. Oh, really? So now you got pain points, you got goals, you're trying to create content. You know what type of company they live in? Oh my God.
Chad.
I'm just saying, so am I.
Ooh, so good. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure like this, like I was just, like that's where my mind went, is field mapping personas to businesses. And it's like, just think about what you could do if your system had that level of context and understanding. Absolutely phenomenal.
Nobody else would be able to do this.
Yeah.
Like HubSpot has laid a foundation that if this piece was implemented, and again, if humans were taught to use the property right, OMG.
This is the way.
Oh, I love, come on, Mandalorian, let's go.
Ooh, let's go. Yeah. So feature suggestion for this persona mapping, unless the persona starts with I'm a or I'm an, then you can't map it.
Oh, yeah.
And it just has a link to call George.
Call George. Yeah, there should be a little like text note. If doing it wrong, call. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I am, but I'm not.
Are we though?
I'm really not, because I've seen when just like Chad said, by the way, I didn't pay Chad to like say these things, but I've seen hundreds of people, hundreds of humans, when they watch the workshop or they're part of the workshop, or I teach them at a 1-to-1 level of how to do this, they're like, oh my God, this changes everything. And if that's true in your segmentation, communication, and reporting, imagine how true it is for your AI content generation and for your agents moving forward, as far as the contextual understanding of who the frick you're actually trying to help.
So where do you imagine some of our user pals out there in the HubSpot universe going wrong with these tools? Whether that's rookie mistakes, oversights, what are we seeing here?
I mean, right now they're pretty simple. So I just say ignoring them is where you're going wrong. Ignoring them is the number one place you're going wrong. And then, something like the ICP, like having way too many of them could possibly be a little bit difficult, because you want to keep it probably fairly focused in these early stages.
I agree completely with Chad. I will say 2 other things. 1, overcomplicating them. Like, just get it done. You have the information, put the information in there. By the way, if you don't have the information, use other AI to help you get the information. Like literally take screenshots, go into ideal customer profile, take a screenshot of the name, job title, industry, location, company size, revenue. Go into GPT or Claude, or you might use Perplexity. I don't give 2 squats.
You might locally host your own model.
Oh, you
Who
might.
knows?
If you're that much of a nerd, you probably already have this junk
Chad?
in there. But
Chadwick.
What?
Do you have is that you? Are you speaking for a friend?
I don't want to say.
I mean,
Your
speaking of
printer
which,
is glowing red.
Did you?
No, it's green now.
It's green now, but you got to be quick. Did you see the article, by the way, about daisy chaining 4 Mac Minis to actually be able to run your own LLM model? Did you see that yet? Anyway,
No.
not why we're here. Not why we're here. Yeah, because the new Mac chip in the Minis, you can literally daisy chain 4 of them and then run your own local LLM. Anyway, okay.
Or you could just build a Windows computer.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Ooh, sorry.
But that's maybe for about, some thousands of dollars. But here's the thing. Take a screenshot, go to GPT, Claude, whatever, and be like, here's information about my company. Here's information about my products and services. By the way, we'll talk about products and services and data sources in a hot second. Here's my products and services. Can you help me figure out who my ideal client profile should be based on the problems that we solve? And give it the context around your company, and then be like, I want you to give me the top 3 or 4 ICPs that you think we should be working with, and give me the information based on these. Post screenshot in there and see what it spits out. Now, of course, that's a rough draft. You go, no, we actually want to work with people who make like 10 to 20 million, not 1 to 5. No, actually, we don't serve people outside the United States, so I don't want to add in the UK or Zimbabwe or whatever, wherever. It's a draft, but at least it's a fast draft to get the context of your brain working in a direction where you might have overcomplicated it. So don't overcomplicate it, and get AI to help you feed AI. Oh, yeah, that's what I'll say.
I think that goes into often how we've discussed, one of the things that is really helpful to do when talking to an AI assistant is like, what are other things I should consider about this?
Oh, yeah.
Right. That's such a great, as with the other persona and having a second smart question, as George would call it, in the same way, having second smart questions when conversing with an assistant is super helpful, right? And so I think even if you know who you're talking to and what you're doing, like just say, hey, like what are other things that, might be good to target, and see if any of that is helpful for your business, right? If it opens your eyes to things you never considered before.
Yeah, by the way, if you heard Chad say second smart questions and you're like, what? Call me. You're doing it wrong. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Oh my God. You're doing HubSpot forms wrong. You're doing the persona property wrong. Like we can get you to the next level. Okay. But speaking of next
level. When in doubt, audience, just go to sidekickstrategies.com. Okay. Put this man out of his misery. He is desperate to help.
All right.
Here's
I love helping.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Talk about taking the next level. By the way, I have this is awesome and I'm freaking upset all in one. Okay. But I understand why, but then that's a deeper problem. Let me explain. In data sources, people are like, this dude is on drugs or something. Nope. Just high on HubSpot. Just going to throw that out there. It's just
the energy.
So here's the thing. In your data sources, there's products and services. The context that this brings, there is a value proposition place that you can fill in. There is what pain points does your company solve that you can fill in. And then you can add a product name and description for all of your products and services, which we went in and we added each product name and product services. By the way, we used AI to look at the page to tell us, can you give me a list of the titles and descriptions for each of these products to give us a rough draft to then copy and paste and tweak and put into HubSpot. But now if your social agent is doing a social media post on content creation and optimization, which by the way, we do that at Psychic Strategies, or if your social agent is doing a social post on how to do HubSpot personas right, guess what? It has the product and now, couple things here. Why can't it just work with our HubSpot products library? Dang on it, if I have my products and I have my folders and it's the way that it should be, why can't I just hook it up to that? Here's why.
I know why.
Because 98% of HubSpot users don't have their products set up right, don't have descriptions in them, don't use file folders. So HubSpot, I get it.
Yeah.
But golly, can we please train people to do their products. Although also some of them, they might not even use products because they do it outside of HubSpot. But there should be a switch where it's like, do you use the HubSpot products tool and have you set it up right? And it looks at those.
Call George.
Well, no, don't call me on that one. Well, maybe. I don't know. I could probably still help you. But if you could flip a switch and then beep, bop, boop, it looks at the stuff that you already have would be dope.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another piece. Even if I can't get that, can I get another line to the right of the description that allows me to put the URL of the product and service page into it? So when my social media agent actually comes up with the social post, then it can put the link into the product for me. So my God, I want to talk about it. That means I want to send them there. Can somebody just add one more row for me? Okay, I'm done.
I think it would be a column, but
Yeah, it's a column. It's a column. Don't give me another row. I got plenty of rows of products. I need a column.
All right.
George, no, I got to jump in here for a second, Chad. George, we've had this discussion a couple of times now, and I'm sorry to do this in front of our audience, but
oh man,
you got to work on your emoting skills, man. I don't know where you stand on anything.
So
I
boring.
don't know what you truly think or feel about anything. I need you to bring some of that inside passion out.
Yeah,
I know it's there.
I'll work on it.
I know you're
bottled up.
I'm trying, but I'm such an introvert, and it sucks.
It's so challenging. Chad, go ahead.
Okay, so one thing I noticed is you must add at least one product or service for the social media agent to work. So you have to have one if you want the social media agent to do anything for you. That's one thing. Now, I don't know if anybody knows this, but
Public service announcement. Associations are one of the most powerful parts of HubSpot.
Oh, yes.
why can't we just associate this to the products and services that we'd like to use?
Oh, yes.
That, I think, would be a real great way to go ahead and do that.
Oh,
That was so cool.
I
Can you
love
just
that.
do public service announcement one more time?
Public service announcement.
Yeah.
Now it's time for GigaChad.
Oh, let's go. GigaChad. I love it. We lost Liz on GigaChad, but
She literally rolled all the way across the entire room.
Across the room. She's like,
Blown
"I'm
away.
out."
Sorry, GigaChad is just too much.
You know, to
I'm just not
GigaChad,
ready for GigaChad?
to GigaChad, this is, I only have one thing to say.
Wow.
That's all I have to say.
Wow.
All
I
right.
have to get my own soundboard, clearly. All right, George. So what's really fun about the conversation that we've had today is that it's only the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
We are going to be, this is actually, for our listeners at home, this is the beginning of a series because we're going to be going into each of these individual AI data sources one by one over the next several weeks to really help you capitalize on everything that we're talking about today. But George,
Yeah.
from today's conversation, what do you want our listeners at home to go home with today
Yeah.
from this conversation? And what do you want them to be thinking about as we go forward?
God. Okay. Actually, I have two things.
Always.
One. To the HubSpotters. Those are the people that work at HubSpot, by the way. I'd love to open up my data sources and have some way to be able to actually associate any custom objects that I have, because that's going to be the most important contextualization to people wrapping HubSpot around their business is the custom objects that they have actually created and the data sources that are inside of there. Now, with that said, what I want to leave the just normal, amazing humans that use HubSpot, go into data sources. Go make sure that because by the way, we ran out of time. We didn't even talk about brand kits and the way that brand voice and tone has dramatically changed. That's going to have to be a whole nother episode because
I mean, that's an episode on its own anyway. So
yeah,
You
might
know
as
I'm ready
well.
to talk about that. You know I'm ready to talk about that. I have so many
is.
thoughts.
But go act like you haven't used HubSpot before a day in your life. Go into data sources, Go to user profile, go to company profile, go to ideal customer profile, go to marketing strategy, go to products and services, and just spend a little bit of time setting it up. And if you haven't signed up for the social media agent beta or the customer success agent beta or the prospecting agent beta, and you feel like you can use those agents to augment the humans inside your organization, notice, I did not say replace, but augment the humans in your organization. That is your directive for this week. Those things right there.
Chad,
Do it.
GigaChad want to share anything?
No.
What are GigaChad's thoughts?
GigaChad's thoughts?
Just do it. Just use it. Build your ideal customer profile. Add your products and services.
That's
So
it,
good.
man.
That's the end of this
Such a
damn
banger.
episode.
That is such a
There's a slider on that, and one of the sliders is magnetism. And that's the background music. As the magnetism goes up, the background music gets more intense.
Can GigaChad take us out today?
Yeah. Take us out.
Take us out, man.
Hub Heroes, thank you for joining. This has been AI Settings and Data Sources.
Okay, Hub Heroes, we've reached the end of another episode. Will Lord Lack continue to loom over the community, or will we be able to defeat him in the next episode of the Hub Heroes Podcast? Make sure you tune in and find out in the next episode. Make sure you head over to thehubheroes.com to get the latest episodes and become part of the League of Heroes. FYI, if you're part of the League of Heroes, you'll get the show notes right in your inbox, and they come with some hidden power-up potential as well. Make sure you share this podcast with a friend, leave a review if you like what you're listening to, and use the hashtag HubHeroes Podcast on any of the socials and let us know what strategy conversation you'd like to listen into next. Until next time, when we meet and combine our forces, remember to be a happy, helpful, humble human, and of course, always be looking for a way to be someone's